Hey guys, welcome to 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description. And here's what I need you to do. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel to stay up to date to everything we're doing here on 3 and Out and the Volume. To me, the biggest story of Thursday, which I was stunned to see this. And listen, I grew up in a home where the irony is I talk for a living, where we just try to, lay low, not overextend our mouths, and just be careful what you said. And don't pump your chest out when you don't need to. So that's just kind of, where I come from just naturally. I honestly, in the profession I'm in, sometimes I'm even uncomfortable. It's part of the gig. You naturally have to self-promote and say some things. I do it. I become a little numb to it, but I still am it's not a natural thing for me. And by no means do you have to be Belichick and just say nothing if you're a coach. But for the most part, nothing good comes out of saying things to other teams. Definitely negatively, right? There is a reason Nick Saban last week when he talked about the rat poison, it was easy for him to get his team up because literally everyone in the world says, you're going to lose. The Kirby Smart was singing their praises. The Georgia players were singing their praises. It was just the media. So when we talk about bulletin board material, we can use that with scribes and talking heads. But when it comes from a player or a coach, it actually has meaning because you're actually playing or coaching against that individual. So when Mike McCarthy, and listen, if ultimately Belichick or hell Tomlin or Andy Reid, Sean McVay wanted to say something, hell Matt LaFleur, who's had a lot of success, Bruce Arians, you know what? I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. We're going to win this week. We ain't losing in the middle of the week. I'd be like, little out of character, but I get it. He's got a lot of pelts on the wall. Now, Mike McCarthy has won a Super Bowl, but Google his record. Last year was an abomination, was an embarrassment. He had to fire his defensive coordinator, and because they drafted so high, they got a star player, right? The previous year, he was out of football. The year before that, he was fired after a loss to Steve Wilkes and Josh Rosen at Lambeau. The year before, under 500, missed the playoffs. So Mike McCarthy as a coach, in recent memory, in the last 4 years, hasn't exactly been lighting the world on fire. And while the Cowboys have 8 wins, one of those wins this year came with him sitting at his couch like me and you. So for him to say, we're going to win this week, and call his shot, to me, not only a little out of character, moronic, dumb. I don't see any value to it. Now, I know Dak Prescott was asked about it. He was excited. He said, to quote, shit, yeah. And I don't blame him. Of course players are going to like that. And I come from the school when everyone will push back, be like, what's he supposed to say? Everyone thinks they're going to win on both sides. But no one ever says it. There's a reason Belichick never says a word. There's a reason Nick Saban would never say that. It's moronic. You're playing psychological games with your team and against the opponent. And you give an opponent who is an underdog at home, who's playing good football, also happens to be a divisional rival, and the football team, say what you want, like they have a legitimate coach. It's not like Jim Tom Sula or Pat Shurmur as their coach. Ron Rivera has taken several teams to the playoffs, including his own team last year. So for him to say that to the football team, it doesn't make any sense. I cannot wrap my head around why he would say such a thing. And it's not like he gets caught up in the moment. This guy's he's been giving press conferences for a decade plus. He's used to saying nothing. The only thing, really, honestly, if you're a coach, and people like me crush him because it gets boring, they have nothing to gain from saying anything that I'm going to like or a fan's going to like. They really don't. It doesn't make any sense to give any opponent, players, some added motivation, some added benefit to get fired up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of practice, just to focus a little bit more. The game of football, the margin for winning and losing, we already see, it's tiny. Hell, the Minnesota Vikings were just up 29-0 midway through the third quarter, and the Steelers had to play at the end of the game basically to tie it, or at least give them a chance for 2-point conversion. These are the margins in the National Football League. Both teams have multimillionaires. Both teams pay their coaches a lot of money. So for you to just give these guys an easy BP fastball to fire up their team, to me, is just a poor job. And listen, I've been critical of Mike McCarthy since they hired him. I don't really even know what he's doing, right? Because he doesn't call the offense. Kellen does that. We know last week, Dan Quinn is the defensive guy, and he's actually a motivator. So now Mike McCarthy is bringing negative stuff to the team because he's doing things. And listen, they still might win on Sunday, but I can't condone or think it's smart to do what he did, especially when you haven't been having much success, right? You haven't had a winning team under your watch in almost half a decade, my man. So I thought that was a meathead move. I thought it was stupid. And if they lose this week, and listen, I'm sprinkling a little cash on the football team. Dallas should win. Dallas is the better team, but it's on the road, divisional game. Football team's been playing better. Their defense looks good. It's all going to fall at his feet. He is going to take a lot of heat. And listen, sometimes take a lot of heat, what does that even mean? I think people are going to be pissed. And I think, and listen, the players will defend him. They love it. But if the football team comes out hair on fire and kicks the Cowboys' ass or wins that game, McCarthy's going to have to answer for that statement, that's for sure. Thanks for watching 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description, and make sure you subscribe right now to the Volumes YouTube channel.